Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Today we have with us Mr. Abhinandan. So he is a parent, and as a parent, he will be sharing his perspective and take and outlook on the new age 21st century skills and the development of the same amongst kids. Welcome. To begin with, I would like to request Abhinandan to tell us a little bit about himself, please.
So thank you, Vic. Thank you for inviting me. So my name is Abhinandan Biswas. Professionally, I am associated with an organization which is consistently striving to improve and extend the people's lives. So I'm with the Novartis, and I'm in the research and development and in operation. Personally, I have my wife and little two wonders. My wife also with the same organization, and my son is now class 6 standard, and my daughter is in second standard. So in principally, I believe in one thing: live with the compassion. So that's all about me.
Thank you so much. Moving on, so in terms of bringing kids up to speed with the new skills that are constantly changing, they are constantly evolving, what are the skill development approaches that you personally have taken, and which are the skills that you would like to be focused more upon?
Yeah, I think when the fundamentally I follow one thing, my journey. If I reflect what I studied and what the job I was doing, was it something that were mined in when I was studying? Of course not. And what I understand, the 60% of the job, when they will be the job seeker, will not be existing at all. But what fundamentally will remain same is like how you adapt the change, how you can self control, thinking abilities, problem solving. So these are the basic amenities a person should be always keep in their mind. And that's what it starts with the leadership. So for me, leadership, I think it's an asset. If you see the big things happen through leadership, if you see the Mahatma Gandhi, it was not a traditional like on the reportees or something. He could influence thousands of people, and they were behind him. One voice from Mahatma Gandhi, people used to just come like anything. So I always go with those kind of an articles, TED talks and things, and I just wanted to build these things to my son. Technicality, it's always basic thing will remain same, but I think personal development is one of the key that one should always and it is a never ending journey. The mindfulness to realizing one himself, it's a continuous journey. The earlier we start, the better it would be. So I always focus on those things.
Absolutely. Very well put forth that particular point. I would like to draw you to a little bit on a personal note in terms of which are the skills that, as a parent, of course, which are the skills that you are working upon in terms of inculcating them within your kid, and how is that working out for you and your kid?
Yeah, so I think one important thing, and I'm trying, and that's what I'm always try me and together with my son to get up early and to reflect. And reflection is key in this today's world. If you see, we have so many things, and this pandemic even, it is own kind. But if you see, we have a very little less time for reflection. So I think that is one thing very important, that continuously reflect and course correction. So that is very important. Yes, we know that kind of data and digital is the center of every profession now. So the one part is, of course, to personal development through this kind of to know yourself, reflection, and other thing. But other thing, I think, in technically, I think professionally, if I see that what one thing that could help him to to be ahead in the game, those kind of simple data, how to read the data, how to analyze the data, not in a big things, but if you start, because data and digital is, and I don't think so it will go away soon. It will just come with a lot of new attributes. So that is one thing I always try. One thing is personal development, and second thing of course in technical aspect, how to read the various data, how to analyze those data, the simple steps that I always help. I think it will definitely be the kind of future for themselves.
Absolutely. And since you mentioned this, like you talked about data, you talked about making meaning out of data. So as a kid, they are faced with different situations. You yourself being into analytics, being a parent, how do you think that parents or educators should approach this idea of ingraining this analytical skills within kids from a tender age, whatever be the situation? It need not be a math or something, so that in general kids become analytical in their approach and mindset.
I think very good question. And if you see, we are analytical. You cannot say that we are not anything. Even if I send my kid to a playground, he will start analytical thing, analyzes the things, how I should play, how is my opponents, what is the past, trend, how many game we won, how many game they won with us, what is their strength, what is their weakness. See, these are already ingrained to us. It is only that we need to just give them proper structure to it, so that they can start, refinement of their thinking and some of the practical data to pick up and to analyze the way they wanted to. Nothing just, you just give them a data, let them think, because they are much sharper kid. What I understood, this generation kid are much sharper, and we just need to give them a structured approach and they do wonder actually.
Absolutely. And on a personal note, like, have you had this discussion with your kid? Like, what does he want to become in future, and what is the type of response you got?
I think I must thank you to the course that Jaideep developed, that entrepreneurship. Since that time, I only one thing, if I ask him, what do you want to become? So he just only said that I want to become a CEO. So I think he could understand, and if he has some kind of a vision, if he could reflect this thing, if he could visualize this thing, I'm happy, because as much he could visualize, I'm sure he would be closer to that path. So whenever I ask, he doesn't know what he will, what company, which other thing, but he always say that I want to become a CEO. So that means that kind of an entrepreneurship mindset, that is very important, and I'm really happy that he's still on that track.
Great. And as kids, as all human beings, we come across hardships, we come across failures. There are times when things do not go according to plan. How do you actually give direction, or how do you navigate your kid, and how do you recommend parents should go about navigating their kids in terms of dealing with both success as well as failure?
No, it's another great question, Avik. See, from my point of view, one should not see the success and failure in two different lens. I don't think so. For me, it's just a two side of one coin. Uh, you can make them realize that what would be the consequences in their future. Create an environment of open discussion with your kid, not to go in kind of victimize or blaming, making the competitive environment set up and discuss that, your peer has done so much good. While I don't think so, it is not the right thing. And if you see the kind of great entrepreneurs in today's world, all of them gone through a tremendous failure. I believe the failure will make you more success.
Very rightly said. And on that note, I would like to draw your attention to one of a specific skill. Like, according to the new education policy, we are seeing that certain skills like being judicious about money, being financially literate, financial literacy, these things are gradually making their way into the education system, even inside the curriculum. As a parent or as an educator, what do you think? Is this a really good idea to discuss money with kids and talk about finances with them? And in case it's a good idea, which are the areas that we should talk about with them?
I think it's a really very great things that this time you could see that finance give a equal important. But if you see, we don't speak about the financial IQ. Basically, we talk about IQ, EQ, but there is something called financial IQ as well. And what I realized, in today's world, if you see, the basic need has changed tremendously. Um, if someone born with the moment they born, they see iPhone, the AC, the TV, the cooler, and everything, which was not the case in our time. So for them, value for the money is not very clear to them. So they don't really value to the things because they feel that it's so much easy, so easy reachable to that. I see everything, my iPhone, all the new gadgets, all the new things in my house, right? So they don't see the value for the money. And one of the reason, and if you see in our days, we used to go often to our grocery shop or the vegetable shop, and our kid, they don't really go, they go with us only to see the shopping mall, and then they never go for transacting anything in the shop that we do it actually. So they don't know about the how the transaction happen, how to calculate the money, how to save money basically. I think it is very important because in future, whatever they do, they cannot exclude the financial component from it. So it's very important. I think for me, the three aspects is I think the first thing, value for the money. Second thing, of course, the what is the how the saving attitude to bring, and third thing is the financial discipline. These are the three attributes I believe it's very important if one could teach them basically.
Absolutely. I totally agree with that. And as we draw closer to the end of this particular interaction, just a couple of things we would like to know from you is that as a parent, of course, being a father, what is that one strong message that you would like to send out to other parents as well as kids in terms of taking the first steps and acquiring these new age skills since the world is moving very fast, a lot of changes are happening, how to keep the kids up to speed with this particular pace that the world is moving ahead?
Yeah, I think the first thing is very important. Give them an exposure, and you just be and you see how they are actually coping, what they are liking, and let them take the decision. As a parent, that is the best thing I could do. That is, I know what is the situation in the world, how we are going through a very stiff changing curve. Only the thing is that just see how the world is evolving, give all the exposure to the kid, but don't put my what I aspire, what I wanted to see my kid to become. Don't put that pressure to your kid. Let him decide. If he decide, he will shine and he will reach a great height.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Abhinandan. Ladies and gentlemen, that's all for this particular interaction. I would like to extend my gratitude to Mr. Abhinandan for sharing his insights and his precious time with us. Thank you so much, Abhinandan. See you on the other side.
Thank you, Abhik. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you so much.